Hey guys, welcome back to Street Fighter Duel. In today's video, I just wanted to go through and give you guys a list of the main mistakes that I think you want to avoid in the game. Now, to be fair, you could probably go watch one of my AFK arena videos of the same thing, and it will be pretty much the exact same with a few caveats because of the combat in this game. It's very standard idle game mistakes that a lot of people make that aren't used to idle games, and then like I said, we'll go into a couple that are more specific to the game. But the first one I want to look at is going to be managing your resources. So if we come over here into the bag, we get all these resources along the way, and you'll see that I have all these cash ones and all of these breakstones still here unused. However, I've used all my experience. In general, with these resources that you get in your bag, the general rule of thumb that I use is if I am hard stuck and I can't progress in anything, that's when I use the resource that I need to progress my account. So, for instance, I have no experience left. That's because I've been pushing this account really hard. I'm on day 3 of the account. We're in 10-9. And, you know, basically now I'm at the point where every time I get experience, I pop it, level up, see if it can push me past the wall that I'm stuck at because experience is what I need at the moment. However, when you look at my team, you'll see that I'm getting really close to 120. However, I've only got one legendary character here with the beast Zangief. My head's in the way, but there we go. The Beast Zangief, he's my only legendary character, which means all my other characters are actually stuck at a level cap of 120. So once I make more legendaries and I decide which ones I'm going to make, I'm just waiting to get extra dupes before I decide because I hate going to legendary without being able to go to legendary plus. But once I get the next one and I'm at level 120 with that character, then I will probably need to limit break them. So then I will pop those resources to limit break to keep pushing my progression. But in general, the two mistakes you see people make with the resources is popping everything as soon as it comes into their bag. And the other mistake is holding on to them forever. Like I said, the way I see it is pop them when you need them to keep progressing. That's the first thing. Now, this one's always a controversial topic in every idle game that you play because there's trade-offs either way, but I just wanted to talk about it in general, and that's foddering the like the triple S rank, the highest ranked characters. So obviously you've got fodder characters that you're happy to fodder off. Foddering the other characters, for me, like for instance here, I have no interest in building T-Hawk. I've pulled 6 copies of him. He was on my wish list for 2 copies. 4 other copies, he has not been on my wish list. So, you know, he's just been haunting me on like, on the stones and stuff like that. But you know, I'm considering actually feeding one of the copies of him. Now, the reason you don't want to feed them is because eventually you want to ascend them. There's a few reasons for that. If we look over here, when you do these bonuses, if he's, say, linked to one of the characters I want to use, it's going to give you better stat bonuses. On top of that, we have this thing over here in the training, which is basically your tree from AFK Arena, where as you get higher ascensions into different characters, you're going to get these. However, I also sometimes do feed these characters purely because when I look at the Wind faction, if I've got 6 copies of T-Hawk, 4 copies is going to get me to the first base ascension levels that you really want to get to. You want to be able to get to Legendary plus Mythic. I'm sorry, I think they call them SS, S and SS. I don't know. I'm using AFK Arena terms. But essentially, 4 copies is what you need to be able to get him to S, S plus, and then double S and double S plus. Now, past that, you go into triple S. I think that's the terms they use in this game. So I'm not too stressed to keep just four copies of him and then feed one off, because when we look at wind units, I'm going to build Beast Zangief, I'm going to build Chun-Li, and people always tell me I say her name horribly, I apologize, and I'm going to build Cammy. 100% I'm going to build all of those before I even think about T-Hawk. Hell, I'll probably build him as well. I can't remember his name. And you know what I mean? There's just other units that I'm definitely going to build before him. And as a free-to-play, it's going to take me a long time to get all the fodder to be able to actually even build him up any further to where it's a point. But that was a really long explanation. In general, you want to avoid it, but there is certain situations in which you can feed them. It's up to you. It depends on your spending level. It depends on what you have, and it depends on where in your order of things you want to build characters. Just keep in mind, I could feed a copy of T-Hawk and then find out in the late game he's an absolute beast, and then I could regret it. So in general, you normally want to avoid it, but some circumstances you can do it. Moving on past that, this is a very simple one, but if you don't do it, it's going to be triggering. Don't leave anything off your wish list. You want to fill out your wish list every time you do it. Because if you don't have your spots full, none of your wish list applies. So keep that in mind. Very simple one there. Don't mess that one up. Moving on from that is presets. Now, this isn't like a massive mistake or anything like that, but I just think some people don't even know it's there because I often swap between teams that I use, and you can make a bunch of presets and you can actually keep making more as well. So you can make presets for the default kind of teams that you make. For instance, sometimes, I have my double DPS team. Sometimes I have my healer team. I've got to actually update my presets as well. But yeah, like there's different teams that I make. And it just lets you have a quick preset to jump around. It's a little bit quicker. It's not the end of the world if you don't do it, but it's something that's definitely helpful to sort of make it go a bit quicker. The next mistake is not understanding speed and looking at speed on your characters. So speed is a very, very important thing in the game because it allows you to get first turn advantage, which is very important. So if you'll find that you're going second against the enemies, they're getting their ults off before you, just look at speed, try and speed something up, just pick a fast unit and slap this bad boy on it and you should be pretty fine. Now, I'm a little bit overkill here. He doesn't need that. It's just I used to have the healing one on him, but I was doing a double DPS team at the moment, so I just thought I'll give him some more speed. But in general, the reason I've got it on B's Zangief is that, and when you look at their speed, if you've got this artifact on them, it's added into their speed. However, he also has a passive where he gains 10 speed at the start of battle, so he's super, super quick. But in general, just pay attention to speed. If you've got a really slow team, it's going to be a lot harder for you if you're taking second turn or you're getting to your ultimates after your enemies because they've already clapped you by the time you get to do anything. Whereas if you ult first, you have a much better chance to interrupt them and, make the battle go your way. So don't ignore speed in the game. It's a very important thing. Then also, this is one that I wanted to look at in form of team building. Just when you're building your team, and this is a good example because I've been experimenting with stuff on this stage. No, this isn't the example. But when you're looking at your team, just don't have like a single unit that is the only unit that can use one combo spot. Like there is situations in which you can, but in general, when you're building a balanced team, you want to have it so that if one of your units dies, you can still perform a 3-part combo to get the maximum efficiency out of it. For instance, if I had this here and I'd say like Chun was my only, or Chun Li, sorry I suck at her name, but if she was my only combo 3 unit and she died, then I'd be stuck at only being able to use two-wave combos. Whereas here I've got 2 options. So if she dies, I've still got my option to do a burst 3. I call them bursts, dude. Too much Nikkei. But yeah, so as you can see, I've got multiple options for each one. Now, like I said, there are situations in a specific team, if you're really struggling and you're putting together a specific team for a specific battle, sometimes it's fine. But in general, just for a balanced team, you want to just try and not have only a single unit, and you definitely don't want to have no units in a combo spot. So that is that one. And then the final thing that I want to look at is not playing the game on manual. If you're trying to push, you are going to have to play on manual. Now, there is multiple ways to do this. If we go in here, you can play light manual like this, where I just look at their gauge and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put on auto here because I think that's when my Zangief is going to be able to stun them and interrupt their combo. And as you can see, he almost interrupted it. That was bad timing. And you can play manual just by balancing out the usage of the auto button. Now, it's not the most efficient way to play on manual, but it's like a quick, easy way that, it doesn't impact you too heavily and you can get away with it. As you can see on that stage, I played it on manual. We should be pretty fine here now. And just by waiting on my first ultimate, it allowed my Zangief to interrupt them. And, that's what gets you the win. However, there is the other way to do it. And this is more like on boss stages and stuff like this. I use this one. But it's putting it at 1x speed, putting on manual, and then you can either keybind or mouse around and click on the abilities if you want. If you want some keybind suggestions, you could do like QWE for the ultimate buttons, and then like use like 1, 2, 3 for the combo buttons. You'd have to use 4 actually. I normally don't do it. I normally click the tag person because it's just like my brain doesn't do it. So I normally keep my mouse on the tag and then click the other ones. But another way to do it is you can use your 2 hands. You could use QWE for your your main skill, and you could use like U, I, O, and P for your 4 combo skills. So like there's different ways you can do it. It's how hardcore you want to get to. But in general, I would say definitely to most people, if you haven't been doing it, definitely try just playing on manual with the auto button at least, just to get yourself familiar with it so that you can get a feel for like that, you know, changing the timing of things can really impact the battle. And quite often that is enough. There's only been a few stages where I've had to play it on full 1x speed manual. The reason I don't like that so much is because it's incredibly time consuming if you're like retrying. What I normally like to do is I like to go in, if I'm stuck at a stage, play with it on the auto manual type thing where we toggle that, and then try and find out roughly what I think is going to work for that enemy. And then once I figure that out, then I go in and then I put it on full manual. I'm like, okay, that's the sort of combo that I want to follow when I'm going ahead and doing, you know, this type of play. But hopefully that made some sense. That's pretty much all the main mistakes that I see at the moment. If I do find more, I will let you know. I will do more guides in the future. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.